Welcome to Knackerbox Garage, a Scratchy Pants production.
Alrighty, so some owning up to do. I've made a bit of a cock up of the videos. We've just started looking at the T140, and somewhere along the lines I've either deleted them, lost the card, not recorded, or what have you. But basically all the work on the T140 is not visible, not recorded, not available, can't do it. So I started off saying, hey, we'll switch to my T140, and we won't. What we will do is we'll now look at my new project bike. That's what's coming next. But let me explain about the T140. And I'll add some pictures in. So I completed the T140 rebuild. Found an issue with the oil pump. The oil pump wasn't seated just correctly. One of the bolts that holds the oil pump in place inside the engine was slightly long, like just a few thou, and it bottomed out before really pulling the oil pump down. So I was suffering with a lot of excessive smoking. Like there was smoke in the exhaust. It was very smoky when it fired up, and then when it got hot it smoked a little bit, and I just thought it was the rings or the guides were gone, and it turns out it wasn't that at all. And the only reason I found that is having put brand new valve guides in the head for like the third time. I put oil in the frame with the timing case off, and then as I was sitting there doing something else, noticed the oil was weeping out of the pump and going into the sun. I'm like, that's the problem. So I pulled the, and it's a Morgo rotary pump, so it's a high volume pump. Pulled the pump off, determined the issue, ground like one thread turn off the screw that holds it in place, put it back on. She's been fine ever since. And then I managed to fulfill my promise to my fellow Triumph owners and all my biking buddies that I was going to ride my T140 down at Bridge Jam in Connecticut, and we got within 5 miles of the event, and a wire came off the igniter box, so that it's got a Pazon on it, which is kind of a fancy, it's like a Boyer but better. It's not so voltage critical, and basically it was the power to the igniter control box that just came unclipped, and I couldn't get the side panels off. So my good buddy Eric rode back to where he lives, about 70 miles, got his pickup truck, drove all the way down to me, and then we loaded the bike, and he drove me all the way to where I live, and then drove all the way home again, and then worked all night. He's that kind of buddy. So, Mr. Speedbird, thank you very much. I owe you one, buddy. And I still think we'd agreed payment, but we've not done it yet. So you need to remember that. I'm not going to let you forget. So before I get all emotional, I will come back to the T140 once we've gone through the project bike. I'll walk you through what I've done to it. Basically, it'll be one video, and it'll be better than watching me. Here's me doing this, and then I'll make some progress. Anyway, enjoy the next series of clips. This is the new project bike. There is a story behind it. There is a follow-on adventure, which is really what we're planning to do in and myself. And if you've seen the Facebook page and stuff, you've probably got an idea what the project bike is. Anyway, thanks very much.
So I ended up losing the lens or the glass out of the mirror, and ended up being gifted a pair of Triumph Scrambler mirrors. The side stand was a bit of a dangler, so I moved the spring hitch so it hung tighter up to the frame, as you can see here. The bike used to run a filter in the oil tank known as a Charlie's filter, and I added a remote Norton Commando style filter that screws on and off. This was the best place I could figure out to put it.
So doing a bit of old school carb syncing. There's a drill in each carb. This is Meriden style carb syncing. And as I slowly lift the slide, both drills drop together. And that one fell out. So that's synced Meriden style.
I also replaced the cheap Chinese indicators with the nice little Moto Gadget ones. These are expensive, but they're very bright, and I put them close in, both front and back, as you'll see in the next video clip.
Right, so here we are then. Friday morning, headlight on, dip. High beam. Ah, that's low beam. High beam. Oh, that's right, yeah. Or maybe got those two around the wrong way. Low and high. Tail lights on. Front brake. Let's do it. Rear brake. Turn signals, front and rear. Well, let's do them again. Let's do this one. Front and rear. And horn. Yay, it's all done.
Here's a picture from my very first test ride. The bike also got completely rewired, which you can't see in the pictures, and a few other things. So the next outing was to go to Brit Jam. And here I am at the side of the road, having just rolled to a halt. The bike just went dead on me. Here I am with Bob and Mark sitting with me. Here's where Eric backed his pickup truck, having ridden home to get it, and then loaded the bike on the back of the truck and took me home. Thank you, Eric. And here's what was wrong. A simple solder connection came loose and just killed the bike. I didn't have any tools to get the side panels off, so basically was convinced it was the igniter box, but it wasn't. It was just a simple wire, which I found out and then promptly cured, as you'll see next.
Okay, new project. And welcome back. I haven't videoed for quite a while, so I've got a new project, and it was kind of, I wouldn't say it was an impulse buy, but it kind of found me before I found it, and I won't hold back anymore, but here it is. 1975 Moto Guzzi 850T. This is the pre-T3 California bike. It's the first of the Lino Tonti framed bikes, characterized by this dead straight frame rail, lot of straight lines, a few little curves, but mostly straight lines. Not the loop frame like the Ambassador or the Eldorado. This bike was sitting in a guy's basement for 20 odd years. He was the first owner, bought it in 1975. It has 9,000, just like 9.5, 9.75 miles on it. He's owned it from new. It's in really good condition. I wasn't really looking for an 850T. I was looking for an Eldorado, but like everybody else who just watched the Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman Long Way Home, where Ewan's on an Eldo, the price of those has suddenly gone way up. So thanks, Ewan. But I'm actually pleased that I couldn't afford an Eldorado. I couldn't find one that I wanted. So I think this is a much nicer bike. Yesterday it went for its inspection, which it now has. I put new tyres on it, and I thought it was done. And I just realised I've started pulling it apart again, because just under here, I don't know if you can see, there's a little hole there where the gearbox has a vent, and it oil comes out of it. So I think there's a seal on the back of the crank. I think that's gone. As the oil smells like engine oil, it can't be the gearbox seal, because it would smell like gearbox oil, and it doesn't. So I've resigned myself to the fact that as it's winter, I'm pretty much going to pull this thing apart. And I'd forgotten to start the video while I still had it, so I've literally just pulled the exhaust off, and then thought, I should start the video on this. So this video series is the preview to the trip we're doing in 2027, where Ian on his 850 T3, me on my 850T, will ride from South London down to Mandello dell'Ario, which is the home of Motor Guzzi, where they were built, where both of our bikes were made. Have a look at the museum and then ride them back. So that will involve me shipping this to the UK, which I've never shipped a motorcycle before. I'm a little bit apprehensive about it, but if I don't do it, I want to do it, and if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. So this is the thing. You got to take the chance, because I feel like I suddenly woke up and I was 62, and it didn't seem that long ago. I was 38 and just come to the USA, and it's been nearly 25 years, and time has flown. So I need to do that. So I have got this running. I have got this running sweetly. When I bought it, there was a little bit of an issue with it. It wouldn't run properly. I had the carburetors apart. These are Del Auto VHB accelerator pump carbs. The previous owner did say to me, hey, you've got to be careful when you work on the carbs, because the pilot jet and the main jet are exactly the same physical size. The drillings are different, obviously. And sure enough, when I took it apart, the pilot jet was in the main jet and the main jet was in the pilot jet hole. So it ran like crap. I've swapped the jets around, cleaned the carbs. When it's hot, it runs beautifully, starts easy, everything. When it's cold, it still doesn't start that well. I don't know whether it's something to do with the modified chokes that are on here, or the enricheners. I'm not a big fan of this cable setup. So I may put individual enrichers back on, because there's supposed to be a little lever here on this side. And if we come round to the other side, it should look, although it sits on top, it should look just like that. That's supposed to enrich it. And I'm not sure if this is set up correctly, because it doesn't particularly run that well, or start that easily. As luck would have it, in stripping the bike, I've just filled the gas tank full all the way to the top, so I've got to drain that, but you know, I can just put a pipe on and top up my thing. In order to get to the seal, obviously I've got to pull the gearbox off, which means I've got to pull the swing arm assembly out, because the drive comes through this shaft here. I don't think I've got to take the bevel box off the swing arm. I think I can leave that all intact. The rear wheel needs to come out. I can leave the mud guard on. I had noticed where I brazed these nuts on for my indicators. I haven't done the top, so I was like, it'll be all right. Well, now I've got to pull it apart, so I'm going to properly braze these on, like I did this side. So there's that, and then there's a few other things that I want to do. There's a guy called the Guzzi Doctor, who makes a ball joint arrangement with much better adjustment to go here. As you can see, I've put a new washer in the back there, and it's better, but it's still sloppy as hell. So I need to fix that. I think the carbs need cleaning again, because, like I say, when it runs hot, it's okay. Although when you accelerate, it doesn't seem to go. Starter motor could do with a service, and yeah, I've just got it together, only to have to take it apart. So this series of videos, Guzzi, engine out, gearbox, well, hopefully engine in, gearbox off, new crank seal. While I'm in here, I'm going to look at the bearings and the seals and see what they're like. I don't want to take this apart that much, because it's only got 9,000 miles on it, and I'm pretty sure the seal is only leaking because it's old. I mean, this bike is 50 years old, so it's not quite as old as me. But, you know, 50-year-old oil seals get brittle and knackered, and that's just what's wrong with it. Of course, it couldn't be the front seal, which would have been really easy, where the generator lives. Well, it does on these bikes. On the earlier bikes, they sat up there. You can see where the cutout would be for it to sit high. Yeah, that's it. That's the new project. I will get going. I'll get the wheel out, I'll jack it up. Actually, one of the things that I've got to do, I need some way of supporting the frame. So I think, and the reason I say that is because the frame has a join here and here, and the whole thing drops out. So I can undo that, undo this, And providing I've got like the carbs off and everything, and taking away the rev counter and all those things, the whole unit should drop down. I don't know whether it's easier to drop it in one onto the bench, but then I've got to do something with the frame. I think I can, and again this is according to YouTube and the interweb, I think I can pull the swing arm out, remove the starter, take the carbs off. If I support the frame then, because the centre stand is part of this whole arrangement, which should unbolt. You can see it all bolts to... Oh, actually that stays there. I wonder if I can... Oh no, looking at the gearbox, this has to come out so I can get that off. Yeah. So I need to basically support this whole thing. So I'll build a gantry. I've got some box section left from when I built the desk, or the workbench, and the desk. So what I'll do is make a sort of a gantry frame that I can lift the rear of the frame up, probably from around here, just behind the shocks, and lift the bike up on a ratchet strap. Then I can pull this all out. And then while I'm there, one of the things that I find absolutely really annoying is this super fancy kickstand that's supposed to be a safety feature that does when you let go of it. I don't like that. I prefer it to stay down. I believe people grind this just to get the spring over the other side. In my mind, it would be easier to move. There's a pin on the frame there where you can't really see it under there. That pin where the spring attaches. I think I could move that, or basically do an, because the angle's right. I don't really modify the frame, because when you look at it, that's good. It's just the spring is pulling incorrectly, and maybe there's a way of moving the spring. Oh, maybe that's the answer. Move the spring tang to this side. Oh, would that work? That may work, actually. Put the tang on the other side. Anyway, that's a small thing. Let's cure the gearbox leak, because what I don't want to do, obviously, is be riding all the way to Italy, constantly topping up with oil and coating my rear tyre with oil. That would be bad. Right, enough of the intro. Welcome to the new series, Moto Guzzi.